I stole my stepmom's college fund to help my biological mom who abandoned me, but she took the money and disappeared. Now, everyone has turned their back on me. I don't mean a symbolic betrayal. We're talking about cash, savings, an entire life saved in envelopes labeled with my name. Money she never denied me, never asked me to return. I used it to save the woman who abandoned me, and I don't feel like a criminal. The story started with an Instagram message. "Hi, I'm your mom. Don't be scared, I just want to talk." The account was weird, no photo. Minimal views, one day at a time. I almost blocked her, but I didn't. I reopened the message 12 times that night. On the 13th, I replied, and we agreed to meet at a coffee shop. I didn't tell anyone. I invented an extra university class. Ines believed me instantly.
She always believed me.
When I saw Veronica in person, I didn't know whether to greet her or ask for an explanation. She hugged me before I said anything. "You're so pretty, so much like me. You don't know how many times I dreamed of this." My voice wouldn't come out, no hatred, no emotion, just noise. "Sorry," she said quickly. "I won't pressure you. I just wanted to see you talk, to know if it made you feel good to know I'm still alive." There was something clumsy about her. She laughed loudly. She moved her hands a lot, her leg trembled, but she wasn't bad. She was intense. "I know I have no right to anything," she continued. "But if you want, I'd love to see you again, no pressure, like friends or whatever." I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no either. A week later, I saw her again. This time in a park. She brought me a coffee. It was cold. I didn't care. "Can I tell you something without you getting angry?" "Try me." "Ines gives me a bad vibe." I frowned.
I didn't like that.
"You don't know her." "I know her by how you talk about her. Everything perfect, everything measured, but cold. Those people who do everything right but never get dirty." I fell silent. I thought it was envy or something. "And you're not like that. You're like me. I see you, I hear you, I know it." I didn't contradict her. When I was about to leave, she dropped the bomb that blew my mind. "Did you never wonder why Ines and your dad never legally adopted you?" "What? You're an adult. You can check it yourself legally. You're still mine. They never did anything to change that." I left without answering, but that night I didn't sleep. I started seeing her often. I said I had a study group. Ines left food served, a sweet message, and went to sleep. She never asked much. One afternoon, Veronica talked to me about rent. I'm ashamed to say it, but it piled up this month and I have to buy medicine. "I don't want you to worry. I'll manage." "How much do you need?" "No, nothing. I swear I don't want to use our connection to ask for money. I'm not that person." "Tell me how much." $60. I transferred it to her in 10 minutes. It wasn't a robbery. It wasn't a secret. Just something no one needed to know. I didn't tell because she was my mother, and I didn't want her to be judged. It was nothing, literally nothing. Ines spent more on a single grocery trip without thinking. Besides, it wasn't for vices or whims. It was medicine, something basic. If I didn't help with something like that, then what's the point of having resources? Veronica sent me an audio that same night. "You don't know what this means to me. Not for the money, but because you believed me." That made me feel good, much more than I expected. From then on, she started writing to me every day, not to ask, but to tell me things. That she had dreamed of me, that her back hurt, that she was trying to get her life in order. She sent me old photos of when she was young. Before everything. "You're lucky," she told me one afternoon. "You were raised well. You have an education, stability." I never had that. She didn't say it as a reproach. She said it as an obvious truth, as if that stability wasn't just mine, but something that could be shared. I started coming home later. I said I had group projects, tutoring, meetings. Ines didn't distrust. She never was one to control. She asked if I had eaten, if I was tired, if I wanted her to leave something prepared for me. That started to bother me. I felt she didn't understand that I wasn't a child anymore, that I had more important things than replying to messages or sitting down to dinner at the same time. One night, while we were eating, Ines mentioned the account. This week I deposited the bonus, she said. Future Valen is growing nicely. She always called me that, Future Valen, as if it were something sacred. How much is there now? I asked, feigning curiosity. She smiled. Enough for you not to worry. That answer made me uncomfortable. Not because I wanted to spend, but because it sounded closed, as if that money wasn't really mine. That night, I didn't sleep. I thought of Veronica, of her small apartment, of the old mattress she complained about, of how easy it would be for me to fix her life a little. Just a push. The next day, I went to the bank. I didn't go in nervously. I didn't look around.
My name was on that account.
My future. I wasn't stealing. I was using something that belonged to me. I withdrew $5,000. When Ines asked me what it was for, I didn't lie completely. Books, materials, next semester's tuition, I told her. I prefer to get ahead and not be short later. She nodded without hesitation. Not a single question. Not a single suspicion. That calmed me down. If it were something bad, she would have noticed. I gave the money to Veronica in 2 parts. When she saw the amount, she burst into tears. She hugged me tight, too tight. No one ever did something like this for me, she told me. No one. That was the real benefit.
Not the money that.
Feeling needed, chosen, important. From then on, lying became easy. I changed schedules, deleted messages. I said I was tired when I really didn't want to talk to Ines. When she asked me for help with something in the house, I got annoyed. Then I'd tell her, it's not that urgent. Once she asked me to accompany her to a doctor's appointment. I told her I couldn't. That same afternoon, I went with Veronica to see an apartment. She said she might be able to rent. It's temporary, she kept telling me. Ines has always been able to manage alone. Veronica started mentioning debts. Nothing concrete. Loose phrases. I can't make it. They're pressuring me. I don't want to worry you. That was the worst. That she pretended she didn't need anything. Tell me, I told her one night, if you need something, ask me. That's what I'm here for. She didn't answer right away. Maybe, just maybe, she said later. You could help me a little more until I get settled. She didn't talk about amounts. She didn't do calculations. I did them for her. I thought about the account, about what was still left, about what Ines always said. It's for when you're ready. I was ready. And besides, this wasn't spending, it was investing. Investing in my mother. That's what I thought as I closed the front door that night, again lying about where I had been, not realizing that I was no longer leading a double life. I had already started to choose. I hadn't said it out loud, but it was noticeable. Things that didn't bother me before now did. Ines talked to me, and everything sounded like a correction, like a guideline, as if I always had to follow a choreography I didn't choose. Veronica, on the other hand, was chaos, but she was mine. One afternoon, without warning, she wrote to me, I'm near your house. I want to meet you in your world. Can I come over?
It took me a minute to reply.
If you come now, Ines isn't home. Minutes later, she was at the door. She entered as if it were her own house. She carried a bag with croissants, a garish fuchsia scarf, and that supermarket perfume that clung to everything. You don't know how hard it was to find your address, she joked, but it was worth it. I took her to the kitchen, made her coffee. She sat in Ines's chair, rested her feet on another. I can't believe you live here. Everything's so neat. Everything has its place. I never had that.
I didn't know what to say.
She talked to me about her neighbors, about her cat, about a time she almost won a trip with a scratch-off ticket. And then I heard the front door. Ines came in with a grocery bag in one hand and her keys in the other. She stopped dead when she saw her. Silence. Veronica stood up with a forced smile. Hi. You must be Ines. How intense to meet you. Finally. You raised an incredible woman. Ines didn't reply. She just put the bag on the counter. I don't want to be a bother, Veronica continued. I just came to say hello. Thank you. Do you want me to leave? I asked, not knowing who I expected a reply from. No, Ines said, looking at me. No, Veronica, it's your house. Veronica approached, extended her hand. Thank you for everything you did for my daughter. Ines didn't take it. Don't thank me.
It wasn't for you.
I'm not your enemy, nor your ally, Ines said. You're the woman who left her, and now you come to collect retroactive love. Veronica lowered her hand. I didn't come to collect anything, she said softly. I came to get back what belongs to me. That's when I spoke. I'm not an object. Veronica looked at me surprised. Ines, too. But I'm her daughter. And you were a phase. It's over. Ines said nothing. She just left the kitchen, went upstairs, and closed her bedroom door. Veronica turned to me with a smile I didn't understand. You don't have to keep pretending anymore, do you? We left together. We walked 2 blocks in silence. Are you okay? She asked me. Yes. Sorry if I was too direct, but that woman looked at me as if I were trash. It's okay. I didn't know you were coming because if I told her, she wouldn't let me in. Or would you? I replied. It's nothing, she said. The important thing is that we're together. That night, she texted me crying. I think I got into something. I can't tell you everything, but I'm scared. What happened? If I don't pay a debt this week, they'll come for me. Bad people. I don't want anything to happen to you. I got out of bed. I went straight to my dad's phone. He had saved the bank token. I opened the app. The account still had a balance. I thought about talking to them, explaining, but I already knew what they would say. Instead, I mentioned it casually the next day. Dinner, table, dishes washed. Veronica is going through a tough time. If we don't help her, it could end very badly. Silence. We can use part of the fund. Just a little. Then she'll get back on her feet. My dad shook his head. We're not going to use that money. Ines didn't speak. She just looked at me. Seriously, are you going to leave her alone again? It's not our responsibility. She's my mother. She left me at a fire station, and you never adopted me. Legally, she's still my mother. That threw them off. You're confused, Ines said. No, I'm seeing everything clearer than ever. I stood up. You know what? You're afraid I'll realize who my real mother is. And I didn't say it to argue. I said it to hurt. That night, I didn't say goodbye. Veronica was waiting for me on the corner. And if they weren't going to save her, I was. It wasn't a fit of rage. It wasn't madness. It was a calm decision made after confirming that no one else was going to take charge. That night I waited for them to fall asleep. I didn't play music, I didn't drink alcohol, I didn't cry. I moved slowly through the house as always, as if nothing was happening. The safe was where it had been all my life, in the study, behind the low cabinet, covered with the old blanket Ines had woven when I was little. I knew the code since I was 15. In case something ever happens, she had told me. It happened. I opened it without problems. Everything was organized. Folders, envelopes. My name written in Ines's neat handwriting. Future Valen. It made me angry. That label sounded like control. Like someone else's plan. I transferred the money in separate transactions. I didn't want to do it all at once. Not out of fear, but out of care. I left a small amount, just enough, so it wouldn't be noticed right away. I didn't want them to panic. I didn't want to hurt them more than necessary. I didn't take anything physical, no photos, no papers, just the money. Before I left, I wrote a note and left it on the kitchen table. I no longer need you to pretend to be my mother. You've done what you had to do. Now, it's my turn to choose. I didn't sign it as daughter, I signed it as Valen. I left with a backpack, clothes, charger, nothing else. Veronica was waiting for me the next morning in a park, sitting on a bench with a hat and dark glasses. She stood up as soon as she saw me. You have it. I showed her the phone screen, the confirmed transfer, the zero balance. She hugged me so tight my ribs hurt. You don't know what you did for me, she told me. I swear I'll give it all back to you. As soon as I get settled. It doesn't matter, I said. The important thing is that you're okay. I'm going to the bathroom, she said. Give me 2 minutes and we'll go back together. We'll calmly plan. I nodded. 2 minutes passed.
5.
10, I texted her.
Blocked.
I called. Nothing. At first I thought something had happened to her, that she had been followed, that she was in danger. I walked to the bathroom. She wasn't there. I left the park, looked around. Nothing. Then my phone vibrated. An audio message. I opened it. "Thanks for the money, fool. You don't have a mother." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I sat there with my backpack between my legs, staring at the floor, as if the world had turned off without warning. I went to the bus terminal. I slept on a wooden bench. The light never went out. The floor smelled of old piss. I hugged my backpack as if it would do any good. The next morning I called Ines. It took her a while to answer. "Mom, Ines," I said as soon as I heard her voice. "I'm sorry. You were right. I made a mistake. She used me. I have no money. I have nowhere to go. Please come get me." Silence. "No," she said. "What do you mean no?" "I'm not going." "Ines, please. I'm alone. If you're in danger, go to the police. If not, find somewhere to stay. I'm your daughter." "No," she replied. "You decided you weren't." She hung up. She didn't block me. She didn't yell. She just hung up. I went to the police station, told them everything. The money, the deception, the note. They looked at me as you look at someone who thinks they're smarter than they are. They found Veronica in a boarding house without money. She said the money was gone, that she had used it to fix things. They arrested her. That didn't give me anything back. The money didn't return. I went back home 2 days later. My dad opened the door for me. Ines was sitting in the kitchen. She didn't get up. "Sit down," he said. "We need to talk." I sat down. "We're not going to keep supporting you," he said. "You have 30 days to leave." "They're abandoning me," Ines said without looking at me. "We're letting you take responsibility." They didn't yell. They didn't cry. That was the worst. And still sitting there, I didn't understand why everything had gone so far. I lived in the same house, but it was no longer mine. I slept in my room, but it didn't feel safe. I ate separately, washed my dishes, walked with softer steps, as if my mere presence was a nuisance. My dad spoke to me in short sentences. Ines directly didn't. It wasn't punishment, it was something worse, indifference. No one yelled at me. No one insulted me. They simply cut me off like they had turned off a radio. Days passed and I waited for some crack, a gesture, a minimal phrase. "Do you want to talk?" It never came. On day 20, I started packing. Not because I had anywhere to go, but because I understood that if I didn't do it, they would. I packed clothes, books, notebooks, the essentials. I didn't take a single photo. I had them all, but I didn't dare. I didn't want to ask permission for things that were once mine. On day 27, I left a letter. "I know I failed, but I'm still part of this family. I just want you to give me a chance to show that I've learned." My dad hugged me when I brought the boxes down. Ines didn't. She just opened the door and closed it. When I left, I found a cheap boarding house downtown. Single bed, shared kitchen, bathroom with a broken door. My room smelled of old dampness. There were no windows that opened. My job was crap. Stocking shelves in a supermarket that smelled of sour disinfectant. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It wasn't enough for much. I dropped out of university. I didn't announce it. I simply stopped going. No one asked. A few days later, a neighbor sent me a message, one of those ladies who keep up with everything, who still followed me on social media. Ines had an operation, nothing serious, but she went alone. It hurt, but not as it should. It hurt because I didn't even know. That same night I wrote to her. "I know this is a lot, but I need a favor. My rent went up. Could you help me with $200? Just this month, I'll pay you back." She didn't reply. 3 days later I insisted. "I'm not using you. I'm just asking for the minimum. It's what any mother would do. If it weren't for me, that money would still be in that account." She also didn't answer. It seemed cruel to me. $200 isn't a fortune, it's nothing. After everything they gave me, they can't do this small favor for me? I wasn't asking to come back, just something logical, a gesture. A week later, I passed by the block. The kitchen light was still on as always. I rang the doorbell. Ines barely opened the door. She didn't move. What do you want to talk about? 5 minutes. I'm not here to fight. There's nothing to talk about. I'm not asking to come back. I just want to know if you still care about me. I'm not angry, she said. Then why don't you answer? Because I don't want to talk to you. I'm trying to fix it. I already fixed it. That threw me off. What does that mean?
That I've closed this chapter.
I have no more ties with you. I'm your daughter. No, you decided you weren't. It was a mistake.
No.
It was a planned, cold, repeated decision. I felt an emptiness in my chest, as if I had been erased from the map. You really aren't going to help me after everything? After everything, she repeated. I have nothing more to give you. And she closed the door. She didn't slam it. She didn't insult. She just closed it. And I finally understood that they weren't punishing me. They were letting me go. Not as you let go of someone you love, but as you drop something that's already in the way. I returned to the boarding house with the certainty lodged in my chest that all the bad things that had happened to me had a clear origin. Ines, no. Veronica, no. Me, her. If Ines hadn't been so cold, if she hadn't been so rigid, if she hadn't set rules, boundaries, silences, none of this would have happened. That's what I kept telling myself as I climbed the narrow stairs of the building, as I opened the door to the room that didn't feel like mine, as I lay down on a bed that creaked as if it was going to break with me on it. The following days, I started telling my version. Not exaggerated, just the facts. I told my friends that Ines had kicked me out, that she had left me alone after I was scammed, that she never really loved me as a daughter, that she was always distant, that she only raised me out of obligation. She's your stepmom, I'd say. She was never my real mom. At first they listened in silence. Then the strange looks started. One of them asked me something I didn't like. But is it true you took all her money? It was mine, I replied. It was in my name. Besides, it was to help my mother. What did they want me to do? Let her die. They didn't insist, but something changed. They started to stop inviting me. Groups formed without me. Conversations stopped when I arrived. Once I walked into a bar and saw one of them quickly put away her phone as if they were talking about me. Later I found out that Ines had talked to a friend's mother, not to slander me, but to explain. That was the worst because she didn't yell, she didn't invent, she didn't exaggerate. She told the facts, and the facts, without my tone, without my justifications, sounded horrible. How could you do that to her? A friend texted me one night. She gave you everything. I didn't reply. Another one just blocked me.
At work someone had heard something.
I didn't know exactly what, but I knew I had stolen from my family. They said it in low voices. With that mix of morbid curiosity and judgment that people use when they think you're not listening. I started to be alone, and the more alone I was, the clearer it became. Ines had ruined me. If she had come to get me that night, if she had given me those $200, if she hadn't closed the door, none of this would have escalated like this. Sometimes I would walk by the house. I wouldn't ring the doorbell. I would just walk slowly down the sidewalk. The kitchen light was still on as always, as if nothing had changed for her. That made me angry because for me everything had changed. I lost my home, I lost my friends, I lost my stability, and she was still there cooking, sleeping, living as if I were a corrected error. I still believe she exaggerated, that she took it too personally, that a real mother doesn't do that. Veronica gave birth to me, abandoned me. Ines didn't share my blood. But she had the power to destroy my life, and she used it. I still don't understand why everyone chose her side. I just wanted to help. I just made difficult decisions, but in the end, I was the one who ended up outside.
Comment 1.
You stole. The tragic story behind it doesn't matter. You stole from those who raised you. You're not the victim. Response. I didn't steal for fun. I didn't go buy clothes or travel. I did it because someone made me believe they were in danger, and yes, I made a mistake, but it came from fear, not malice. Comment 2. Your stepmom gave you everything, and you repaid her with betrayal. You literally chose a con artist over someone who cared for you. Comment 3. How ironic that your real mother abandoned you twice, and you still think Ines was the problem. Response. You don't know what it's like to grow up wondering why you were left. If you've never been through that, you don't have the right to judge my emotional decisions. Comment 4. I hope you understand no one kicked you out. You just dug your own social and family grave. Comment 5. You say the money was yours, but you clearly had no idea how much there was or what it was for. It wasn't yours. It was an act of trust. Response: the money was in my name. They said it 1,000 times. How can it be theft if they told me my whole life it was for me? No one explained conditions. Comment 6. You didn't ask for help. You manipulated, lied, and stole. And now you're playing confused because no one wants you around. Comment 7. Your request for $200. In the end, it was the straw that confirmed you learned nothing. Response: asking for $200 doesn't seem like a crime to me. They had given me much more before. Does that make me a monster for needing help one more time? Comment 8. Ines was more of a mother than anyone, and you discarded her like an expensive babysitter. Karma came for you quickly. Comment 9. And you're still surprised your friends don't talk to you? They don't want to be accomplices of someone without remorse? Response: I lost much more than friends, but no one puts themselves in my shoes. It's easy to say, I wouldn't do that when your life has always been stable. Comment 10. The worst kind of traitor is the one who still believes they're a victim. Response: I never believed I was a victim. I just told what I lived. But it's easy to point from the outside when you don't know what it feels like to lose everything over a single decision.